The United Nations has released its flagship report looking at the world economic growth prospects. It's known as the World Economic Situation and Prospects. It has lowered India's growth rate for the current fiscal year to 5.7%, and it expects a pickup to 6.6% in the next fiscal year. I talked to Julian Slotman, who's the expert for India and South Asia at the UN, gave us a more in-depth look.
Fiscal stimulus measures that have already been announced. We stress that it is very important that the government takes a long-term vision, keeping its eyes on the development goals. In India in particular, we see that the labor markets are performing far from optimally, with high levels of informality, gender barriers that effectively limit the participation of women on the labor market, high rates of youth outside of employment, education and training. And this would be one issue that the government will have to address to both improve economic growth in the long term and to perform on the Sustainable Development Goals. Second, the report has a chapter focused on the energy transition. In India, access to affordable and clean energy will be a major area of improvement that will both improve economic growth in the long term. India being an importer of energy has much to gain from improving the access to affordable and clean energy, and also to ultimately attain these Sustainable Development Goals by 2030.
In terms of the energy issue, when you talk about green energy, does that also take a cost on the economy, especially in the transition period, especially in a country like India that has a huge investment in coal and other kinds of energy?
Absolutely, and India is already expanding the access to clean energy at a large cost, but ultimately these investments will pay itself, but it does indeed require a big upfront investment. India has the advantage of being an energy importer, and right now there will be some fiscal space coming available, so it's urgent, it's critical that India uses all available fiscal resources to improve the access to clean energy.
One final question. There's been a discrepancy between the growth projections that you made and what the World Bank, for example, put out last week, which was about 5% economic growth for India. What is the reason? Is it because you use a different set of statistics, or?
The model that we use is somewhat similar to the World Bank. We do indeed take a slightly different approach, but mostly the World Bank includes in their estimates the most recent information, while the estimates that we have included in the report are slightly more dated. Last week we've seen estimates coming in from the statistical office that point to an estimated growth rate of 5% also. So it might be that we were indeed on the optimistic side for 2019. For 2020, it all depends on the effectiveness of the government policy, and well, we will see.